Commander Ji-Won Park stood in the observation deck of the Galactic Council Station, staring at the stars beyond the transparent wall. She had dreamed of this moment her entire life. First contact. Humanity joining a galaxy full of intelligent species. 6 months ago, that dream came true. Now she wanted to go home. The council chamber behind her buzzed with alien voices. Translators worked to convert hundreds of different languages into something humans could understand. Ji-Won had just sat through 8 hours of discussion, 8 hours of listening to species debate problems they refused to solve. Commander Park. The voice belonged to Ambassador Velthris, a tall being covered in blue scales. He approached with the floating walk his species used. You seem troubled. Ji-Won turned to face him. Tell me about the Velkin again. Velthris's inner eyelids flickered. Among his people, that meant discomfort. The Velkin situation is unfortunate. They were conquered by the Draxor Empire 300 years ago. Most serve as laborers in Draxor mining operations. Slaves, Ji-Won said. You mean slaves. The Council does not use such emotional terms, Velthris replied. We observe, we document, we do not interfere. Ji-Won felt heat rise in her chest. You've known about this for 300 years? You've done nothing? Intervention would violate the Prime Directive, Velthris explained, as if talking to a child. Advanced species cannot interfere in the development of lesser civilizations. It is natural law. The strong survive, the weak adapt or perish. This is how the universe functions. That's not law, Ji-Won said. That's an excuse. Velthris stepped back. Several nearby council members turned to look. Commander, you are new to galactic society. You do not yet understand how things work. The Prime Directive maintains stability. Without it, chaos would reign. Strong species would dominate the weak constantly. Instead, you just watch while it happens? Ji-Won asked. We do not cause suffering, another council member added. This one resembled a floating jellyfish, its tentacles glowing with bioluminescence. We simply recognize that interference causes more harm than good. Every species must walk its own path. Ji-Won looked around the chamber. Hundreds of species. Thousands of years of combined knowledge and technology. All this power, and they did nothing. How many species are currently enslaved in this galaxy? She asked. The chamber went quiet. Velthris's scales darkened. That information is classified. How many? 17 major situations, Velthris finally said, and perhaps 40 smaller cases. But, Commander, you must understand. Ji-Won walked away. She heard Velthris calling after her, but she did not stop. She moved through corridors filled with strange beings, past rooms where species negotiated trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Everything so civilized, so polite, so comfortable in their neutrality. She reached the human quarters and found her communications officer, Lieutenant Chen. I need you to set up a broadcast, she said. Chen looked up from his station. What kind of broadcast, Commander? Galaxy-wide. Every channel, every frequency. I want everyone to hear this. Chen's eyes widened. Commander, that would require council authorization. We'd need to go through official channels, submit requests, wait for approval. Do it anyway, Ji-Won said. Chen studied her face for a moment, then nodded. His fingers moved across the controls. It'll take me 20 minutes to crack their broadcast systems. They're not exactly designed for security. Nobody's ever tried to hijack them before. Nobody's ever needed to, Ji-Won said. 19 minutes later, Chen looked up. Ready, Commander. You'll be broadcasting to approximately 400 billion devices across the galaxy. Every council species will receive this. Every ship, every station, every planet with receiving equipment. Ji-Won stood before the camera. She thought about the Velkin, enslaved for 3 centuries while the council watched. She thought about the other species suffering while the powerful debated stability. "Begin transmission," she said. The light turned green. Jiwan took a breath and spoke. "My name is Commander Jiwan Park of Earth. 6 months ago, my species joined the Galactic Council. We came with hope. We came with excitement. We thought we would find friends among the stars. Instead, we found something else. We found species who have forgotten what it means to care. You have a law, the Prime Directive. You say advanced species cannot interfere with lesser civilizations. You call it wisdom. I call it cowardice." She paused, letting her words sink in across light years of space. "Today, I learned that 17 species currently suffer under tyranny. 17 peoples cry out for help while the Council debates and documents and does nothing. I learned about the Velkin people enslaved for 300 years while you watched. 300 years, and you call yourselves civilized." Jiwan stepped closer to the camera. "Humanity rejects your Prime Directive. We reject the idea that suffering should be ignored. We reject the comfort of neutrality. To the Velkin people and to all others who suffer while the powerful look away, I make you this promise. We are coming for you. This is not a threat to the galaxy. This is a promise to the oppressed. We are coming. We will help you. We will stand with you. We will not abandon you to convenient philosophies about non-interference." She could hear alarms going off in the corridor outside. Security was coming. "To the Galactic Council, understand this. Humanity will not participate in your comfortable cruelty. We will not watch while others suffer. We will not debate while people die. You can condemn us. You can expel us. You can call us dangerous or primitive or foolish. We do not care. We have made our choice. To those who need help, we are coming." The transmission ended. Chen shut down the system as the door burst open. Council security poured into the room, their weapons drawn. Velthris pushed through them, his scales flushed dark purple with rage. "What have you done?" he demanded. "You have violated every protocol. You have no authority to broadcast such messages. The Council will demand Earth retract this statement immediately." Jiwan met his eyes without flinching. "Then the Council will be disappointed. Earth doesn't negotiate with people who watch genocide and call it policy." She was arrested 3 minutes later. But across the galaxy, on 400 billion devices, beings heard her words. In slave camps and war zones, in forgotten colonies and dying worlds, people who had given up hope heard a promise. Humanity was coming. The galaxy would never be the same. Captain Minjun Choi watched the view screen as his fleet dropped out of hyperspace. 43 ships, half military, half humanitarian. It was the largest fleet Earth had ever assembled. He hoped it would be enough. "Velkin space confirmed," his navigator reported. "Detecting multiple mining stations, heavy Draxor presence." Minjun leaned forward in his command chair. "Open a channel, all frequencies. Let's make sure everyone knows we're here." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Minjun Choi of the Earth vessel Incheon. We are here under the authority of the human government. We have come to assist the Velkin people. We mean no harm to any being who does not threaten us, but we will not leave until the Velkin are free." Silence answered him. Then his tactical officer spoke. "Captain, I'm reading weapon signatures. Draxor patrol ships are moving to intercept. 6 vessels." "Battle stations," Minjun said calmly. "But remember our orders. Disable only. No kills unless absolutely necessary." The Draxor ships were built for intimidation. They looked like huge insects, all sharp angles and weapon ports. They opened fire first, their plasma cannons lighting up the void. Human ships scattered, their smaller size and better engines letting them move faster. "Return fire," Minjun ordered. "Target their engines and weapon systems only." Human railguns spoke. Solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds struck Draxor ships with precision. One lost its engines, another went dark as its power systems failed. The remaining four tried to adjust their tactics, but humans had spent centuries fighting each other. They knew every dirty trick. 15 minutes later, all 6 Draxor ships floated dead in space. Not destroyed, just disabled. "Send medical teams," Minjun said. "Any Draxor wounded get the same treatment as our own people." His first officer stared at him. "Sir, they just tried to kill us." "And now they're injured and helpless," Minjun replied. "We're here to prove humans are different. That starts now. Send the medical teams." Human doctors boarded the disabled ships. They found injured Draxor warriors confused and suspicious. When the humans began treating their wounds instead of executing them, that confusion turned to shock. Meanwhile, other human ships approached the mining stations. These massive structures hung in orbit around dead planets, processing ore with Velkin labor. Minjun's heart sank as he saw the conditions through the cameras. Thousands of beings working in environments that would kill humans in minutes. A communication channel crackled to life. The voice was weak, uncertain. "Human ships, this is Mining Station 12. You should leave. The Draxor will send more ships, bigger ships. You cannot win." "We're not here to win," Minjun said. "We're here to help. Are you Velkin?" Pause. "Yes. My name is Thessa. I manage communications for this station. Why are you really here?" "Your people are enslaved. We came to change that." Thessa laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "Nothing changes. The strong take what they want. The weak serve or die. This is how things are." "It doesn't have to be," Minjun said. "We're preparing shuttles now. We can evacuate everyone from that station, take you somewhere safe." "Safe?" Thessa's voice rose. "There is no safe. The Draxor control 70 systems. They have thousands of ships. You have 43. Do the math, human. Even if you mean well, you will fail. Then the Draxor will punish us for your interference." Minjun understood her fear. "Thessa, 6 months ago, a human commander broadcast a message. She said we were coming for you. Humans keep their promises. We're here. We're not leaving until you're free. You don't have to trust us yet. Just watch what we do." Over the next 3 days, human ships evacuated 12,000 Velkin from mining stations. They were brought aboard humanitarian vessels where they received medical care, food, and rest. Many had never known these things. Some thought it was a trick. Others simply did not understand why strangers would help them. Thessa was among those evacuated. She met Minjun in person on the 4th day. She was smaller than humans, with gray skin and large eyes adapted for low light. Scars covered her arms from years of labor. "You're still here," she said. "We said we would be," Minjun replied. "More Draxor ships are coming. Our people intercepted communications, a battle fleet, 20 warships." "I know. We detected them too." Thessa's hands shook. "You cannot fight 20 warships with what you have." Minjun smiled. "We don't plan to fight them. We plan to make them an offer." He gestured to a nearby screen showing the Draxor prisoners. They were being held in comfortable quarters, their wounds treated, their needs met. "We've been talking to the Draxor we captured, treating them well. Some are starting to ask questions. Why would enemies show mercy? What kind of species helps those who hurt them?" "You think kindness will stop a battle fleet?" Thessa asked. "No," Minjun said. "But it might make them hesitate. Make them think. And while they think, we're training your people to defend themselves." He led her to one of the cargo bays. Hundreds of Velkin were there, learning to use weapons and defensive systems. Human instructors worked patiently, showing them how to fight back. A young Velkin dropped his weapon and looked ashamed. The human instructor picked it up and handed it back. "Again," the instructor said gently. "You're doing fine. Everyone starts somewhere." Thessa watched in silence. You're teaching us to fight our own battles. Yes, Minjun said. Freedom means nothing if you can't defend it yourselves. We'll help. We'll train you. We'll give you weapons and ships. But this has to be your fight too. We can't do it for you. Why? Thessa asked. Why does Earth care? What do you gain? Minjun thought about how to answer. 6 months ago, we joined a galactic community that told us to watch and do nothing while people suffered. We rejected that. Humans believe that if you can help someone and you don't, you're responsible for their continued pain. We can help you, so we will. It's that simple. Thessa's eyes filled with tears. 300 years. The Council knew. All those powerful species. They did nothing. They were wrong, Minjun said. And we're going to prove it. The Draxor battle fleet arrived 5 days later. 20 ships against 43. But the humans had spent that time preparing. They had defensive positions. They had trained Velkin crews. They had turned mining stations into makeshift fortresses. Most importantly, they had sent the Draxor prisoners home with a message. Earth was willing to talk, willing to negotiate peace, but Earth would not abandon the Velkin. The battle fleet commander received this message and hesitated. His prisoners spoke of strange humans who healed enemies and treated slaves like people. He had never heard of such things. While he hesitated, other species watched. The Galactic Council had sent observers. They expected humans to conquer Velkin territory, to replace one master with another. Instead, they saw humans working beside Velkin as equals, teaching, not commanding, protecting, not possessing. The galaxy was watching, and humans were keeping their promise. Dr. Hana Song had been awake for 36 hours. Her hands shook as she sutured another wound on a Cathari soldier. The civil war on Cathari Prime had turned the planet into a nightmare. Both sides fought with weapons that burned and poisoned. Both sides sent their wounded to her medical station. "Doctor, we have more incoming," her nurse called out. "Looks like government forces this time." Hana did not look up. "Prepare beds. Same as always. I don't care which side they fight for." A Cathari officer approached her. His armor was scorched black. "You treat the rebels? The ones killing my people?" Hana finished her suture and finally looked at him. "I treat the wounded. That's my job. Your people, rebel people, all people. Do you have injuries that need attention?" The officer stared at her. "You're insane. Both sides will see you as an enemy." "Both sides will see me as a doctor," Hana replied. "Now, are you wounded, or are you wasting my time?" He left without answering. But an hour later, a rebel soldier arrived with similar questions. Hana gave him the same response. Word spread across both sides of the war. The human doctor treated everyone equally. No questions, no judgments, just healing. On the other side of the galaxy, engineer Tae Yang Kim faced a different problem. The Silan colonies were running out of water. Their purification systems had failed, and council suppliers refused to help without payment the Silan could not afford. Tae Yang stood in the broken facility, looking at technology far more advanced than anything Earth had. "This is your purification system?" he asked the Silan engineer. "Yes," the engineer replied. His species resembled tall, thin birds. "It requires quantum crystalline matrices. We have no way to manufacture them. The council species who make them want payment we cannot provide." Tae Yang pulled out his tools. "Forget the quantum crystals. You have basic filtration materials?" "You mean primitive separation systems?" The Silan looked confused. "Those cannot purify water to safe levels, not by themselves," Tae Yang agreed. "But if we combine multiple stages, add some chemical treatment, and build proper storage systems, we can make it work." "Humans purified water this way for centuries." The silent engineer watched in amazement as Tai Yang tore apart the advanced system and rebuilt it using simple materials. Filters made from local sand and carbon. chemical treatments using compounds the sealant already had, storage tanks built from repurposed mining equipment. 3 days later, clean water flowed again. The sealant engineer stared at the working system. It's so basic, so inelegant, but it functions. The best solution is the one that works, Taeyang said. You don't need fancy technology, you need clean water. Now you have it. Meanwhile, on the Moru homeworld, disaster relief coordinator Seo Jun Lee raced against time. A massive earthquake had triggered volcanic eruptions across the planet's main continent. Millions needed evacuation. The Galactic Council had expressed sympathy, but offered no ships, no supplies, no help. Earth sent what it could: 6 transport ships, 1,500 relief workers, medical supplies, and emergency shelters. It was not nearly enough. SEO Jun stood in the command center coordinating evacuations while lava flows approached refugee centers. "We need more ships," he said to his team. "We can't get everyone out in time." "Council observers are watching," his second-in-command reported. "They say this is a test. They want to see if humans will give up when the task is impossible." Seo Jun looked at the map. 200,000 Moru still needed evacuation. He had ships for maybe 50,000. Then they're about to learn something about humans. Send out a message. Any species within 10 light years. Anyone with transport capacity. We need help. We can coordinate the rescue operations, but we need ships. Sir, most species won't respond without payment guarantees. Send it anyway, Seo Jun ordered. The message went out. For 6 hours, nothing happened. Then a small merchant vessel appeared. Then another. Then a dozen more. Species that had nothing to do with the crisis. Species that had no reason to help the Moru. But they came because humans asked. Because they saw humans spending themselves to help strangers. Seo Jun coordinated the growing fleet. He directed merchant ships to safe landing zones. He organized medical teams across 20 different species. He worked until he collapsed from exhaustion, was revived, and went back to work. Back on Earth, the government watched 3 simultaneous crises drain their resources. Admiral Park, Ji-won's sister, stood before the council. "We're stretched beyond our limits. Our medical supplies are running low. Our ships need repairs we can't afford. Our people are exhausted." "Then we bring them home," one counselor suggested. "We've made our point. Let the galaxy handle its own problems." "That's exactly what the Galactic Council expects us to do," another counselor argued. "This is a test. They want us to fail, to prove that compassion is weakness." Admiral Park shook her head. "This isn't about passing tests. Real people are dying right now. The question isn't whether we can afford to help. The question is whether we can afford not to. What are we if we give up on people who need us?" The council voted. Earth would continue all 3 operations. They would send more supplies, more people, more resources, even if it hurt. Even if it cost them everything. On Cathari Prime, Hana received a message from both sides of the Civil War. They wanted to meet with her. She was the only person both sides trusted. She was exhausted, covered in blood, and barely standing. But she agreed. The meeting took place in her medical tent. Government and rebel leaders sat across from each other, weapons within reach. Hana stood between them. "You both keep sending me wounded," she said. "I keep healing them so you can wound them again. I'm tired of it. You want to fight? Fine, but not in my hospital. You want my help? Then you talk. Really talk. Find a way to stop this war." A government general stood angrily. "You have no authority." "I have the authority of someone who's spent 3 weeks putting your people back together," Hana interrupted. "Sit down. Talk. Or get out of my tent and stop asking me to fix what you keep breaking." They sat. They talked. It was not peace, not yet. But it was a start. On the Ceylon colonies, Tai Yang trained local engineers to maintain and improve the water systems. "You don't need council suppliers," he told them. You have brains and resources. Use them. Build what you need. The Salon began to understand. Technology was not magic. It was problem-solving, and they could solve their own problems. On the Moru homeworld, Seo-jun coordinated the final evacuations. Ships from 30 different species worked together under human coordination. Species that had never cooperated before. Species that had no connection to the Moru. But they came because humans showed them what was possible. The last refugee lifted off as lava consumed the landing site. Seo-jun watched from his ship, knowing how close they had come to failure. But they had not failed. Not because humans were strong, because they refused to give up. Across the galaxy, Council observers compiled their reports. Humanity had faced 3 impossible situations simultaneously. They should have failed. They should have chosen one crisis and abandoned the others. Instead, they spread themselves thin and somehow succeeded anyway. More importantly, they had inspired other species to help. Merchants who became rescue workers, engineers who shared knowledge freely, soldiers who laid down weapons to talk. The humans had not solved these problems alone. They had shown others how to care. In the council chambers, the observers presented their findings. Humanity is dangerous, one reported, not because they are strong, but because their ideas are contagious. Species are beginning to question the Prime Directive. They are asking why we do not help when we clearly can. Ambassador Velthris listened to the reports with growing concern. The humans had been tested and they had passed. But in doing so, they had changed something fundamental. The galaxy was waking up, and Velthris was not sure the Council could stop what humanity had started. Thessa stood on the bridge of a Velkan warship. It was not a fancy vessel. Humans had helped them convert a mining hauler into something that could fight. But it was theirs. Built by Velkan hands, crewed by Velkan warriors, their first free ship in 300 years. Target confirmed, her tactical officer reported. Draxer slave transport, carrying approximately 5,000 Korvathi prisoners. The Korvathi were another species enslaved by the Draxer Empire. Thessa had heard their stories, families torn apart, children taken to be trained as soldiers, adults worked to death in factories. She thought about the humans who had freed her people, how they had risked everything for strangers. She thought about Captain Minjun's words, "Freedom means nothing if you cannot defend it yourself." "Open a channel to the transport," Thessa ordered. "All frequencies." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open." Thessa took a breath. "Draxor transport vessel, this is the Velkan ship Hope's Dawn. You are carrying Korvathi prisoners who should be free. Release them immediately, and you will not be harmed. Refuse, and we will take them by force." Silence. Then laughter came through the speaker. "Velkan giving orders? You are slaves. You have always been slaves. You will always be slaves." Thessa felt anger burn in her chest, but she also felt something new, confidence. "We were slaves. We are free now, and we are coming for those Korvathi. This is your last warning." The Draxer transport tried to run. Velkan ships pursued. They had learned well from human teachers. They did not use overwhelming force. They disabled the transport's engines precisely. They boarded carefully. They treated even the Draxor crew with dignity after disarming them. The Korvathi prisoners could not believe what was happening. They had heard rumors about the Velkan liberation, whispers about humans who helped without asking for anything in return. But rumors were not reality. One of the Korvathi elders approached Thessa. "Why are you doing this? The Draxor will retaliate against your people." "Let them try," Thessa said. "We learned something from the humans. Suffering does not have to be accepted. Evil does not have to be tolerated. If you can help someone and you choose not to, you are part of the problem. We can help you, so we will." She used the exact words humans had used when freeing her. The Korvathi elder's eyes widened. The human phrase, "We are coming for you." "It is not just a human phrase anymore," Thessa replied. "It is a promise. Any being that suffers under tyranny, any species abandoned by the powerful, we are coming for them. All of us who remember what it means to be helpless." News of the Korvathi rescue spread across the galaxy. Other freed species began organizing their own liberation efforts. The Cathari, tired of civil war, formed joint teams to help refugees from other conflicts. The Silan shared their water purification designs with struggling colonies. The Moru sent disaster relief teams to other worlds, remembering how strangers had saved them. The movement was growing, and the humans who started it were stepping back, letting others take the lead. Then everything changed. The Draxor Empire, destabilized by losing its slave labor, collapsed into civil war. Different factions fought for control, warlords carved out territories, and caught in the middle were billions of ordinary Draxor civilians who had never owned slaves, never wanted war, who just wanted to live their lives. The call for help came through official channels. Draxor civilians requesting humanitarian aid from the Galactic Council. The Council debated. These were the former oppressors. Did they deserve help? Commander Ji-Wan Park, recently released from Council custody, sat in Earth's emergency council meeting. Her sister, the Admiral, presented the situation. Draxor civilian populations are starving. Their infrastructure has collapsed. Disease is spreading. They're asking for help. "Let them starve," one counselor said. "They enslaved dozens of species for centuries. This is justice." "That is revenge, not justice," Ji-Wan replied quietly. "The Draxor who enslaved others are mostly the military and ruling class. The civilians we would help had no more choice than the species they enslaved. Many opposed the Empire but could not speak against it." "So we forgive them?" "After everything they did?" Ji-Wan shook her head. "Forgiveness is for victims to give, not us. But we do not punish children for their parents' crimes. We do not let innocents die because their government was evil. If we do that, we become the very thing we claim to oppose." The argument raged for hours. Finally, Admiral Park called for a vote. Earth would send humanitarian aid to Draxor civilians, not because they deserved it, because it was right. The decision shocked the galaxy. The Velkin could not believe it. Thessa contacted Ji-Wan directly. "You are helping the Draxor? The ones who enslaved my people for 300 years? "We are helping Draxor civilians," Ji-Wan corrected. "People who are suffering, people who need help. That is what we do." "But they are your enemies." "They were our enemies," Ji-Wan said. "And if we help them now, maybe their children will not be. Hate creates more hate. Revenge creates more revenge. Someone has to break the cycle." Thessa was silent for a long moment. "I do not know if I can be so forgiving." "You do not have to forgive," Ji-Wan said gently. "But you also do not have to become like those who hurt you. That is their victory if you do. Humans believe that the best revenge is living well and helping others live well too. Prove that your way is better by being better." The Velkin debated among themselves. Some wanted to watch the Draxor suffer. Others remembered human teachings. Finally, Thessa made a decision. Velkin ships would join the humanitarian mission, not because they forgave the Draxor, because they chose to be better than their former masters. When the joint fleet arrived in Draxor space, they found chaos. Warlords fought over cities. Civilians fled burning towns. Children starved in refugee camps. It was everything the Draxor had done to others, now happening to them. Human and Velkin workers moved through the devastation. They set up medical stations. They distributed food and clean water. They treated Draxor wounded with the same care they had shown everyone else. A Draxor mother approached Thessa, carrying a sick child. "Please," she begged, My daughter needs medicine." Thessa looked at the woman. She saw her own mother in that desperate face. How many Velkin mothers had begged Draxor for mercy and received none? How many Velkin children had died while their oppressors watched? She took the child gently. "Come with me. Our medical team will help her." The Draxor woman started crying. "Why? After everything we did to your people, why would you help us?" Thessa thought about Captain Min Jun and Commander Park, about all the humans who had taught her that strength was not about revenge. "Because someone showed me that suffering does not have to continue, that hate does not have to win. Because if I let your daughter die to punish you, I become the monster I hated. I choose to be better." In the Galactic Council chambers, conservative members tried to condemn humanity's actions. "They are creating instability," one argued. "Species are questioning our authority, our laws, our way of life." Ambassador Young Hee Kong stood to respond. She was the newest member of Earth's delegation, young and passionate. "You are afraid," she said simply, "not of chaos, of change. For thousands of years, you maintained stability by teaching species that suffering was inevitable, that the strong dominate the weak because that is natural law. But it is not natural. It is a choice, your choice. And species are finally realizing they can choose differently." "We maintained order," a council member shouted. "You maintained comfort," Young Hee corrected. "Your comfort, your convenience. You built a galaxy where you never had to feel responsible for others' pain, where you could watch suffering and call yourselves wise for not interfering. We showed the galaxy another option. We showed them that caring is not weakness, that helping is not interference, that standing with those who suffer is not imposing your will. It is answering a call that was always there. You just chose not to hear it." The debate raged across the council. Progressive voices, many from species humanity had helped, demanded reform. They wanted the Prime Directive abolished. They wanted mutual aid codified as galactic law. Conservative members fought back, but they were losing ground. The galaxy had changed. Species that had once accepted neutrality now demanded action. The comfortable old order was cracking, and humans, who had started it all, quietly stepped back. They had proven their point. Now it was time for the galaxy to decide its own future. 2 years had passed since Commander Ji-Won Park's broadcast changed the galaxy. She stood now in the rebuilt council chambers, watching species from across known space gather for a historic moment. The old Galactic Council was gone. Today, they would establish something new. Ambassador Velthris approached her. His scales showed colors she had learned meant respect. "Commander Park, I wanted to speak with you before the ceremony." Ji-Won smiled. "It is just Ji-Won now. I retired from the military last year." "Still, you should be recognized for what you started," Velthris said. "If not for your courage, if not for thousands of people choosing to help instead of watch," Ji-Won interrupted. "I gave a speech. Others did the real work. They are the ones who should be recognized." Velthris looked around the chamber. Velkin worked alongside Draxor on the planning committee. Cathari from both sides of their former civil war served together. Ceylon engineers shared their knowledge freely. Species that had been enemies now cooperated as equals. "I owe you an apology," Velthris said quietly. "When you first challenged the Prime Directive, I thought you were naive, dangerous. I could not see that our comfort had become cruelty, that our wisdom had become an excuse. You showed us a better way." "We showed you a different way," Ji-Won corrected. "Whether it is better is for the galaxy to decide." The ceremony began. Representatives from 143 species filled the chamber. At the center stood a monument, a simple stone carved with words in every galactic language. "We are coming for you." The first speaker was Thessa. She now served as coordinator for the liberation initiatives. 2 years ago, I was a slave," she began. "I had given up hope. I believed suffering was my destiny. Then humans came. They did not conquer my oppressors. They did not make me trade one master for another. They taught me to free myself. They showed me that caring for strangers was not weakness but strength. Today, we formalize what humans started, the covenant of mutual aid." Speaker after speaker rose. The Korvathi elder who had been freed by Velkan warriors. The Moru disaster coordinator who now led galaxy-wide relief efforts. The Draxor civilian representative whose people were rebuilding with help from those they once enslaved. Finally, Ambassador Young-Hee Kang stood to speak for Earth. "Humanity does not want to lead this covenant," she said. "We are not better than any of you. We are not wiser. We simply refuse to accept that suffering was inevitable." That refusal sparked change. But change means nothing if it depends on one species, one idea, one moment. The covenant must belong to all of us equally. So Earth steps back. We will contribute. We will help. But we will not control. This is your galaxy as much as ours. The vote was unanimous. The old Prime Directive was abolished. In its place came the covenant of mutual aid. Any species could call for help. Any species could answer. Mutual defense, shared resources, coordinated humanitarian efforts. Most importantly, no one species dominated. Decisions required consensus. Actions required cooperation. Some conservative council members had resigned rather than accept the changes. Others adapted. Velthrus became the Covenant's first administrator, chosen because he represented the change of heart many species had experienced. The celebrations lasted 3 days. But on the 4th day, something unexpected happened. Captain Minjun Choi, now Admiral of the Covenant Defense Fleet, received a priority signal. His communications officer looked confused. "Admiral, we're picking up what appears to be a distress call, but it's coming from outside mapped space, beyond our explored regions." Minjun felt his heart race. "Can you translate it?" "Working on it. The signal is old, very old, like it has been broadcasting for years, maybe decades." The officer worked the controls. "Got it. Running translation now." The message played through the speakers. The voice sounded tired, desperate, fading. "This is the remnant. We are the last. Our world dies. Our sun fails. We cannot escape. If anyone hears this, please. We are alone. We are afraid. We do not want to die forgotten." Silence filled the bridge. Minjun looked at his crew. Humans, Velkan, Korvathi, even a young Draxor who had chosen to serve in the Covenant fleet. All of them stared at the communication station. "How far away?" Minjun asked. "Unknown. The signal is weak. Could be months of travel, maybe years. We have never mapped that region. There could be dangers we cannot predict." Minjun thought about the covenant they had just formed, about the promise that had started everything. He thought about Commander Park's broadcast 2 years ago. "Assemble the Covenant Council," he ordered. "Emergency session. Full membership." 6 hours later, representatives from every Covenant species gathered. Minjun played the distress call. The tired voice of the remnant filled the chamber. When it ended, no one spoke for a long moment. Then Thessa stood. "We are coming for them." A Korvathi representative raised her hand. "We do not know what we will find. This could be a trap. Or impossible to reach, or we could arrive too late." "Does that matter?" asked a Draxor representative. "They are suffering. They are alone. They called for help. Is that not what this covenant is for?" The debate was brief. Species that had once watched suffering now competed to help end it. They voted to send an expedition. Not just humans. Not just 1 or 2 species. A true coalition. 30 ships. 15 different species. Scientists, engineers, medical teams, diplomats, and defenders. Minjun was chosen to lead. He stood in the rebuilt council chambers, looking at the volunteers. "We do not know what we will find," he told them. The journey will be dangerous. The remnant may be gone before we arrive. We may fail. Then we fail trying, a Velkin officer replied. That is better than not trying at all. Commander Jiwon Park attended the fleet's departure ceremony. She was older now, her hair showing gray, but her eyes still held the fire that had challenged a galaxy. Min Jun approached her before boarding. Do you regret it? He asked. That broadcast 2 years ago, the chaos it caused, the pain of change. Jiwon looked at the fleet preparing to launch. Dozens of species working together. Not because they were ordered to, because they chose to. Change is always painful, she said. But regret? Never. We showed the galaxy that caring was not weakness, that helping was not interference, that standing with those who suffer was not imposing our will but answering a call for help. The remnant are calling now, and the galaxy is answering. Min Jun nodded. We learned from the best. No, Jiwon said. You learned from each other. Humans started this, but everyone here chose to continue it. That is what makes it real. The fleet launched that evening. 30 ships carrying 1,500 beings from across the galaxy, united by a simple belief that suffering should not be ignored, that calls for help should be answered, that the strong had a responsibility to stand with the weak. On the bridge of the flagship, young Ensign Sarah Kim from Earth watched the stars blur as they entered hyperspace. She turned to Admiral Choi. Sir, what if we are too late? What if the remnant are already gone? Min Jun remembered his own doubts 2 years ago, when he arrived at Velkin space not knowing if they would trust him, when he faced impossible odds and kept going anyway. Whether we are ready or not, he said, echoing words that had become the Covenant's motto. If someone needs help, we are coming for them. That is what we do now, all of us. The fleet raced through the darkness between stars. Behind them, the galaxy they had changed continued to grow and learn, species helping species, former enemies becoming allies, former slaves becoming liberators. And somewhere ahead, in the unknown depths of space, the remnant waited, not knowing that their call had been heard, not knowing that help was coming. Not knowing that in a galaxy that had once watched suffering with indifference, beings from dozens of worlds now raced to answer one simple, desperate plea. We are alone. We are afraid. We do not want to die forgotten. The message had reached ears that refused to turn away, hearts that chose to care. Beings who had learned from humans that the greatest strength was not the power to conquer, but the courage to help. The Covenant fleet jumped through hyperspace, carrying forward a promise that had transformed a galaxy, a promise that would echo across the stars for generations to come. We are coming for you. And they always would be.